Deadpool tells the story of Wade Wilson, played by Ryan Reynolds, a sarcastic goofball very similar to the actor Ryan Reynolds.
Think Ryan Reynolds got this far on his superior acting method?
But his charming, good-natured wit and kind heart manages to win over a prostitute by the name of Vanessa, played by that bird from Gotham.
Really?
Unfortunately, Wade is soon diagnosed with cancer, so he does what anyone down at the Marvel emergency room would do and agrees with Sheldon Cooper's creepy uncle here to have some random operation and torture implemented on him, turning him into an unkillable superhero.
I may be super, but I am no hero.
Named Deadpool, all while the supervillain Francis... Okay, I am not taking a supervillain named Francis seriously. I mean, it just sounds so...
How tough can he be with a name like Francis?
Oh shit. Stop it, movie, that's my job.
What the shit?
Kidnaps Vanessa, and it's up to Deadpool and the only two X-Men that the studio could afford
The studio couldn't afford another X-Man.
to save her and bring Francis to justice.
Francis!
Nowadays, Deadpool is one of the most popular superheroes of all time, but the journey of making his first feature film was a long story of stops, starts, delays, and production hell. I hate it when people take forever to make a superhero movie.
It sounds even stupider when you say it.
A big screen adaptation of The Merc with a Mouth originated in 2000 when Marvel signed a deal with Artisan Entertainment to produce the movie, with David Goyer signed on to direct, having worked with Reynolds on Blade Trinity. However, due to rights issues between Marvel and 20th Century Fox, the project stalled in development hell and was eventually cancelled.
We'll see about that.
However, it was later announced that Reynolds would play Deadpool after all in the upcoming X-Men Origins Wolverine, with the aim of hopefully expanding the character in his own film. And we all loved it and nobody looked back.
That's classified.
Despite how badly that movie's portrayal of the character was received, the box office success of Origins was still enough to convince the studio to start development on a Deadpool film, with X-Men producer Lauren Schuler Donner attached to produce, and Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick hired to write the script. Robert Rodriguez was the first person to be asked to direct the new version, but despite some initial interest, he eventually parted ways with the project, at which point Tim Miller was selected after his work as a visual effects artist on the previous X-Men films.
And that's why we do it, but mostly the money.
However, the Fox executives were concerned about the project, specifically its R-rated content. They tried to convince the filmmakers to tone the movie's content down to a PG-13 rating or to integrate him into an Avengers-style team-up movie, but they refused, which led Miller and Reynolds to shoot some test footage in order to prove that the movie could be done. Unfortunately, the studio still wasn't convinced by what they saw, which combined with the recent critical and commercial failure of Green Lantern, caused the project to be tainted even further. Not even the championing of the script from the likes of James Cameron and David Fincher could convince them to greenlight the project. It now seems like the movie was doomed to fade into obscurity and that fans would never see an accurate portrayal of the character on the big screen. Until July 2014. Reynolds and Miller's test footage was mysteriously leaked onto the internet and was met with an overwhelmingly positive response. To this day, no one knows who actually caused the leak, but the positive response was enough to finally convince Fox that the movie was worth making. And after over a decade of struggle, a Deadpool movie was finally greenlit in September 2014, set for release for February 2 years later.
Somebody accidentally leaked it on the internet, which is super crazy.
you?
Oh, no, I have nothing to do with that, I have nothing to do with that.
Very un-Canadian of you.
Yeah. My mom was like, what does this button do?
But some compromises had to be made. Reynolds and Miller wanted complete creative control over the project, which the studio would only agree to if they were willing to work with a smaller budget, to which they accepted.
Yes, sir.
However, this limited budget meant that many planned scenes had to be either toned down or cut out completely. For example, the original climax was going to consist of an elaborate gunfight, but this had to be scaled back, which is where the writers came up with the idea for Deadpool to forget his bag of guns just before the third act.
Where's your duffel bag?
Okay, that's genius.
Remind me what good will come of this?
Filming ran from March to May of 2015, and Deadpool was released on February the 12th the following year and was a runaway success, grossing $782 million worldwide, surpassing The Matrix Reloaded as the highest grossing R-rated film in history. On top of that, both critics and fans raved about the movie, praising its faithfulness to the comics and Reynolds' performance, to the point that he was even nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor.
Oh, I hope the Academy's watching.
The movie was also impactful within the film industry, as it proved that comic book movies could still be huge successes even with an R rating, and it firmly established both Reynolds and the titular character as pop culture icons. And yet nobody has greenlit a remake of The Mask yet. I mean, look at the comics, it writes itself! I mean, I guess it didn't, it would have needed artists to write it, but you know what I mean!
Nobody wins today.
I will say, the opening credits are hilarious, and what makes them even funnier is that they were a complete accident. These were originally supposed to only be a placeholder for real credits that would be inserted later, but the director thought that they were so funny he decided to include them. And Ryan Reynolds even admitted that they pretty much stole it from the Honest trailers.
Hey, can I listen to you do the honest names? I love that part.
Honest names?
You know, the bit you do at the end of your videos that we, quote, borrowed for our opening credits.
Well, at least you're admitting it.
Keeping up with the comics, Deadpool is of course fully aware that he is in a movie, so prepare for a shitload of fourth wall jokes.
Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? Wasn't talking to you. I was talking to them.
Scaredevil. I don't know. Might further the plot.
I tried the hero business and it left a mark. Let's pro-con this superhero thing.
Please don't make the super suit green or animated.
My boyfriend said this was a superhero movie.
Captain Deadpool. No, just
Deadpool, yeah.
Lucrative film deals, both origin stories and larger ensemble team movies. You might want to look away for this.
fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break.
Hear the music.
You gotta do a superhero landing.
Yep, that's a good one.
Let's finish this epic wide shot, pull out.
You're still here.
But even when he's not breaking the fourth wall, the movie does have some genuinely funny moments.
Dad?
This is confusing. Is it sexist to hit you? Is it more sexist to not hit you? I mean, the line gets real blurry.
Nobody's getting hurt.
Looks on everything.
Looks are everything. You ever heard David Beckham speak?
Tell me where your fucking boss is, or you're gonna die in 5 minutes!
Use your powers for good.
Heads up.
Although some are kind of random.
There's about 116 kilos of cocaine buried somewhere in the apartment, right next to the cure for blindness. Good luck.
And some are really forced.
You ever see 127 Hours?
Yeah, remember that film? Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that film. For no reason. In fact, there's a few of them in this movie.
Ripley from Alien 3.
Nothing compares to you. Sinead O'Connor, 1990.
Some are just weird. I mean, they're not even remotely funny. You wonder how they remained in the final cut.
I will shoot your fucking cat.
I don't really know what that means. I don't have a cat.
Then whose kitty litter did I just shit in?
Some jokes are dragged out beyond belief, but Reynolds is such a delight to watch that he kind of makes it work. I mean, here, he just breaks both of his hands and feet and it goes on for way too long. But it's Ryan Reynolds, so fuck it! He's just hilarious, but why does he continue his sarcasm and smart-ass attitude even when he's in a life or death situation? It doesn't make sense, you're gonna die! But he knows he's in a movie. So maybe that makes it okay. The action scenes are really creative, but in the first 15 minutes alone, they already do the slow-mo to death. Although since Deadpool knows that he's in a movie, does that make it okay to copy superhero cliches? Or does it make it worse? Oh well, he makes it funny.
Did I leave the stove on?
What I will say is that this movie is definitely a product of its time. I realise it only came out 8 years ago, but hear me out! Nowadays, gore in comic book movies are becoming a lot more commonplace, but back then, this was so new and really risky for the studio to show brutal, gory scenes like this. It's great! There are some really cool visuals as Wade and Francis fight in a burning building, and we also get to see a lot of Ryan Reynolds' butt cracks, so that's always nice. But then we get a really weird moment. So Francis uses a fake name and is really pissed off when Wade reveals his real one, so he says,
Quick question. What's my name?
oh, that is such a badass moment, yes!
What's my name?
Is that your catchphrase now?
What's my name?
Will you stop that? It's stupid now!
What's my name?
Will you shut the fuck up, Francis? I would decapitate you and pee down your neck hole. It was cool once you ran it into the ground.
God damn it!
And then we get a leak of a video call in my group chat.
Ever had a cigarette put out on your skin?
Where else do you put one out?
I was molested.
Me too.
Uncle.
Uncles. They took turns.
I watched my own birthday party through the keyhole of a locked closet, which also happens to be
Your
my...
bedroom. Lucky. I slept in a dishwasher box.
But it is really sweet how he uses Vanessa's time to actually get to know her instead of for sex. He's such a nice guy. Never mind.
3 minutes.
Deal. What do we do with the remaining 2 minutes 37 seconds?
Jesus. He must be a machine. I've always felt Ryan Reynolds is quite an underrated dramatic actor. The subtle performance as he finds out he's got cancer is incredible. He gives up hope and just prepares for death, while Vanessa is the one remaining optimistic and trying to find a solution. He keeps making jokes to cover up the pain, and even as he's about to be tortured, you can see the sheer regret and realization in his eyes that he may never actually see Vanessa again. The man doesn't even need any dialogue, and he should have gotten the Oscar for Buried! God fucking damn you! Sorry, reflex.
Is that what you think?
Francis does give a decent performance, even if he's trying to be Jason Statham for some reason.
My welcome speech used to be full of euphemisms like, this may hurt a little. This may cause you some discomfort.
Wade's best friend Weasel, played by TJ Miller, is hilarious, and he gives some truly accurate dialogue as the best friend.
You look like an avocado. Had sex with an older, more disgusting avocado. Yeah. Not gently, like it was hate fucking. There was something wrong with the relationship, and that was the only catharsis that they could find without violence. Mind if I keep this, put it up, so I can remember? When you looked alive. At least now I'm gonna win the Deadpool, now that you're gonna die. Wait. I'd go with you, but I don't wanna.
Wear a mask?
Yes, a very thick mask, all the time. I am sorry, you are haunting. Your face is the stuff of nightmares.
Like a testicle with teeth.
You will die alone. If you could die. Ideally. For others' sake.
That'll do.
I do like how nobody is even subtle when they're just staring at Wade, horrified as if they've never seen anyone with birthmarks or skin deformities before. As we see Deadpool begin to take shape, why are the bullies not even hurting him here? At the start of the film, we clearly see them hurt him, and that's a flash forward scene when he was used to his powers. It's also very convenient that Weasel is a massive creepy weirdo who kept a photo of Wade and Vanessa at the bar for some reason, just so Francis can find out who she is. But they know they're in a movie, so it's okay. Then Vanessa thinks she's about to be reunited with Wade, but psych, it's Jason Statham if you ordered him from Wish. Oh, also, Vanessa's convinced that Wade is dead at this point, but why? I mean, from her point of view, Wade got up in the middle of the night and walked out. She has no idea about the fire or the collapsing building. I mean, I guess she could assume that enough time has passed that the cancer probably killed him off, but you would have thought, considering, she just agreed to marry the guy, that she'd know him enough to know that he wouldn't spend his final days on Earth not being with her. The infuriating part is, even when they reunite, he never explains himself.
I'm sorry for leaving.
And also, I went out to cure myself for you and was kidnapped and tortured for months and months and then couldn't return because I looked like Freddy Krueger's nutsack. Maybe you want to point that out now? Alright.
I get why you're so pissy.
And randomly, 80 minutes in, they decide to give the cab driver an arc.
My romantic rival, Bandhu. He's tied up in the trunk. I'm doing, as you said, DP. I plan to gut him like a tandoori fish, then dump his carcass on Geeta's doorstep.
Alright. Glad I came for that. The cinematography and special effects all look amazing. Except for this, looks like it was rendered on a Commodore 64. The movie, I will say, is very basic and doesn't try to explain too much. Like, why does Sheldon Cooper's uncle choose Wade? I mean, I guess they're building an army of superhuman slaves, but it's not really explained more than that. Just, cancer, he'll do. But the film is a very generic revenge story. Girl gets kidnapped, even though we clearly see her take on Fat Gandalf by herself and is a strong motherfucker, but the moment she gets kidnapped, she's a complete damsel in distress. I mean, I know that the bad guys here are superhuman, but she doesn't even really try to fight at all. Very good. But I also feel it's Deadpool's first outing and it's poking fun at superhero films, so it's perfectly acceptable to be a generic one itself. Because they make fun of superhero tropes.
Everything else falls away. The way the world sees us. The way we...
It's just a lot of fun. It's a simple generic story, but I feel like it works with what they were going with. Awesome effects, but what you really came for was brilliant comedy and a spectacular Ryan Reynolds performance. Deadpool 3, as I'm recording this, I'm gonna go see it in a week. My prediction is, it's gonna be insane!